Hi, I want to make a video on things like language, culture, things like that. Different countries having different ideas, using different words and explaining things. Sort of like, the United Kingdom using different spellings like IOUR instead of just IOR. Like say behavior, you have an extra U in there. So, and sort of like and I want to talk about accents as well and the alphabet. So when we're talking about these kinds of things, and obviously these things are based on a culture and closed culture, some silly little ideal where it's based on some enclosed environment, based on a geography, um, causing all sorts of other complications based on all sorts of conflicting ideals. That's the very conflict that we have, is the conflict of things like culture and different ideals based on different things. Um, and it almost comes down to, like, say, communism is about everyone being the same and then fighting with the ideal of being the same based on being different. So it's the driving force of being different, fighting with the idea of being the same, but it's a conflicting idea. The idea of being the same and idea being different is a different idea to begin with, and you're fighting the idea of trying to make everything at least be as close to the same as possible, to make an equal game as possible, as much as you can. Socialism or communism to the extreme. Things like accents, and this is something I've noticed when it comes to speaking some other language, when it comes to something like speaking a different language, say like Italian or French or something, you're forced into saying an accent. You're forced into an accent. Grazie, say like Italian, or gracias. You're forced to speak in a certain accent. You can't say gracias, which would seem almost to an extreme when you say something like that, but you're sort of forced into an accent based on how the words work, how the spelling and how how the words are spelled, and so on and so forth. So most other languages, with the exception of, I would say, English, as far as I know, are based on a lot of accents. They're more the accents what makes the language. While English, you have all sorts of other accents. Obviously, there's different accents in different languages, but they're pretty much the very basic. They're very similar, as opposed to English, which has a wider range of different accents and all that kind of stuff. And all those kinds of things, how you speak, your dialect, and so on and so forth, and how you speak them. English is far more malleable when it comes to how you can use it. And I think it's because it's the accumulation of all sorts of different languages, all sorts of taking all different elements of these different languages, and being them into one. And it's had longer to, it's come from all these different languages, and it's had longer to progress from all these different languages and all these different things. And it's an accumulation of these languages to begin with, and it's had time to take in different elements of these languages. And most people are learning as a second language. And things like that. So yes, so English is a little more. It's not being confined by a generalized accent, including all sorts of different accents you may have for a language. So instead of gracias, it's grocias, gracios, or something like that. But it's very, very samey. While English, as I've noticed, is you can manipulate the words in a far more range of way of saying them, yet still have them sound very. You can manipulate the language as much as you can, but you can still make it sound like the same word, or at least as close. It can be spelled the same way, and you can still see where it came from, and that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. So. And it comes down to this idea where all these different things, and okay, so back to the idea of language. So when we're talking about language, and things, and accents, other languages are confined by an accent, sort of like German, and all these different languages, and sorry if I'm dragging this out, I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting the point. And this idea that these languages, these accents that we have based on these languages. A lot of languages are controlled by accents and things like that. Other than English, and English is less controlled and it's more malleable than these other languages. And that the point I'm trying to make when this kind of thing is that based on the accumulation and how English and how it's used as a second language to most people, it's the language that's going to probably dominate the rest of the world based on the fact that it's so open and it's so you can use it and manipulate it so much. But hopefully not manipulation is to turn it and transform it to a different language. But obviously you're within the transformation if you're learning the language. The language is yours. So you're going along with it, and you can understand these different ways that the language is being manipulated because you're still in the process of you're learning along with the process, or you're in the process of the process, and it's based on that's the language that you had to begin with. So I'll go back to this idea of in accents. So yeah, accents, you're forced into an accent with other languages as far as I know, to a certain extent to these languages. You're more confined to a certain accent when you say the word, because these words are based on an accent, and the accent is based on the language is based off of an accent, based on the way the words are spelled. And these words are spelled in a forcing you a way to speak a certain accent, like gracias. It's very, or grazie, it's very controlling on how you have to say it a certain way. Otherwise, it's not the word that you're trying to say. While you can say all sorts of things in English, you can cool, or cool, or cool. You can say it in different ways, and just to use a few examples, and explaining how it's a little more diverse or whatever it may be. And I want to go to the obviously other languages are a little more contrived when it comes to how you speak, because either some languages have too many words, or you have too few words. And English has a lot of words, more words than most languages do. And they're not just symbols, and based on how you think and the way you speak, and how you think is based on the language that you're speaking. So how you think can be controlled a lot by how you were brought up in the language and the culture and things, and how you manipulate ideas based on words in your head, thinking about ideas, talking to yourself in your head, talking to others, and transferring ideas and things like that. So it's a lot of it has to do with based on ideas and languages. So learning multiple languages can work in certain ways, but I would say there's a consolidation in one language that can help and cover all those things based on having more words, but more words can also confuse things. And you can manipulate things, and you can overcomplicate things. But overcomplication, I would say, is more better than being unable to articulate some thought as thoroughly as you want. But based on this perception of understanding how the language works in context and how it's obviously worked for other people, you can know that it can work in certain ways as well. And it's worked before, and it's given context, and they obviously work in similar ways as us, and so on and so forth. So yes. So language can be manipulated and all that good stuff. And I want to go to this alphabet thing when it comes to saying the alphabet. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Or you can say it's Z. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So it's A, B, okay. So it's A, B, C, E, E, D, A. Okay, I want to start better. Okay, so it's A, B, E, E, C, E, E, D, E, E, F, G, E, E, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, E, E, Q, R, S, T, E, E, U, V, E, E, W, X, Y, and Z, E, E? Or is it Z, E, D? And I think this has to come down to the idea that that's the way it originated, is Z, and that's how it's been translated from Latin or something like that. But just because the culture before said it was right, sort of like they thought it was right, religion was right, that was right back then, doesn't mean it's right now. Sort of like you can still transform your ideas and not just use old archaic ideas moving forward. And I think this has to do with a lot of other English-speaking countries and other countries that take things from those other English-speaking countries and applying it to their own thing, especially when learning a new language, and even in their own language, however you translate Z into another language, it's the same idea. So Yes. So it'd be a bed said dead ed F Jed HIJKL QRS Ted U Ved WX Y and Z. That would make more sense when it doesn't even fit. Now they call me Faceless Fred. Look at me and now you're dead. Instead of you see DFGX. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? So instead of that, it's the other way around. Sorry for my voice and just talking in all these videos. Wears away your voice. So I think I've made, at least tried my best to be clear enough, so it comes down to language and how I, at least from my own perception, understanding other languages, and there's no offense to any other language. Obviously, it helps if we all speak the same language. It takes away our diversity and culture, but that's not important. It's about minimizing the difference, the discrepancy, the things that can cause problem, which is a discrepancy, a difference, a conflict, and that's the thing that causes real conflict. And it's best to eliminate all these boundaries that we have, this culture that we have, and make sure that we can consolidate all these things, at least make them into one thing, combine them all, and just come to a conclusion, use one thing or the other. And as far as it seems to be, it seems English is the language that we're going to go to, at least when it comes to a language, a one-world language, sort of like a one-world government, taking away all these boundaries. So yes, I don't want to change the subject anymore. I think that's good enough to explain some of the things I wanted to explain in this video. So yes, language and the alphabet, and just because they said it was right before doesn't mean it's right now, and just because might doesn't make right, just because that's the way the people of old said it, and then now all of a sudden it's right just because they said it. It doesn't mean it's right just because they said it in the past. And that's because just because it's been a tradition. The tradition doesn't make it right either. The tradition was religion for so many years, and we can recognize that as a complete farce, especially now. Even 200 years ago, we can recognize that. We're not being blinded by ignorance anymore, or veiled by ignorance. So, I think that's all I need to say. So, seems like it would be best if you... Yeah, never mind. So thank you, and until next time, bye.